A delight to welcome back to the Simon Conway Show, Senator Tim Scott. How are you, sir?
Good day, Simon. I'm glad to hear you feeling better.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Yes, walking pneumonia is no fun, sir. I don't recommend it.
I recommend against it as well. I do recommend the Florida State Seminoles keep winning.
Right? Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
I got to tell you, as an SEC fan, I was stunned by how good they look this year.
Yeah, they look pretty good, man. Next week is the big one, though. They get through that, and I'm going to tell you where you heard it first, right here. If they get through next week at 4-0, they're going 12-0. I'm telling you right now.
All right.
Telling you right now.
Sounds like a national championship opportunity.
Yep, I believe they will have that potential in their future. You're coming back to Iowa. We love it when you come back to Iowa. And we now know you're definitely a very serious candidate because you're doing a meet and greet at the Fort Dodge Pizza Ranch.
Yes, sir. I just finished my meet and greet at the Fort Dodge Pizza Ranch, and we are now heading to the Columbia Club Town Hall in Mason City at 6:30 tonight.
There you go.
Come on and join me.
Yes, that pizza. Once you do the Pizza Ranch, everyone knows you're for real. By the way, just so you know.
I love it. I love it.
I want to get into your economic plan because I think it's very, very important. But I got to deal with the ridiculousness of political campaigning. So suddenly, everyone's really interested in who you're dating. I want to point out, I'm not really interested in who you're dating at all. I don't need an answer to that. I'm really about the noise. Were you shocked by this?
You know, I was a tad bit surprised that some of my political opponents have so much interest in my dating life and not enough interest in closing the southern border, protecting life. Unfortunately, the theater of Vanity Fair has entered into the Republican politics.
It is very weird to me, I have to say, because it's just it's so irrelevant. I mean, if people ultimately trust you to be president of the United States, I think they should probably trust you on who you want to date. That's just me. Call me crazy, but that's just me. Let's talk about your economic plan. Far more important. Build, don't borrow. You've called it. Explain it to me.
Well, Simon, here's what we need to know. Our country just hit $33 trillion in debt. Our current deficit, annual deficit, will be 40% more spending than we have money. The only way to break that cycle is, number one, we need a balanced budget amendment. It might take me my entire presidency to get it done, but I will fight day one to have a balanced budget amendment. Number two, we must grow our economy closer to 5%. My build, not borrow, creates 10 million new jobs, not by the government, by unleashing our private sector in energy, innovation, and high-tech manufacturing. Let's put hard-working Americans in high-tech manufacturing locations making six figures. Let's accelerate expensing and depreciation, lower our taxes, and increase our opportunities by bringing our jobs home to America.
Well, this is the Ronald Reagan station. Actually, two of the stations you're on right now, former President Reagan used to work on before he went to Hollywood. So it sounds kind of familiar to what President Reagan tried to do to our country, for our country, and what he did do successfully.
Well, Simon, you're exactly right. If you think about the fact that America, number one, is not a country in decline, but under President Biden, we have been a country in retreat. The last time we saw this movie, it was in the 1970s when Jimmy Carter had us in retreating from our values, retreating from hard work. Ronald Reagan restored our work ethic, and he inspired this nation. As the next president, I want to take the model of cutting taxes, increasing employment in the private sector, and reminding America we are the city on the hill, a positive, optimistic message with a backbone. Let's get America working and take our jobs back from China and handle our debt.
If you get the opportunity, you're going to ask people if they're better off than they were 4 years ago?
Well, we certainly know the answer to that question. We know they're not better off than they were 2 years ago. When President Biden took office, we had driven unemployment down to the lowest levels in the history of the country for all minority groups, a 50-year low for the majority, a 70-year low for women. And quickly thereafter, inflation went from 2% under President Biden to 16%. It's time to have a president who drives inflation back down to 2%. And the way we do that is by answering the question, are you better off under Joe Biden? Thousands of dollars of lost spending power. We now have crises in our fundamental culture. They believe that we are a culture of grievance. We know we must be a culture of greatness. We changed that by changing the president.
Today, we got 5 Americans back. No one's going to be unhappy that these Americans are home. That's a good thing. The bad thing, however, is we paid for them. And I believe that the Biden administration has now put a price on the back of every American abroad right now. And certainly if I was in Iran right now and had that passport, I'd be getting out of Dodge.
Well, speaking of Dodge and speaking of your comments, I just said exactly the same day at Fort Dodge at the Pizza Ranch. I said under President Obama, he paid over $400 million in a hostage negotiation. This president, $6 billion. What does that mean? It means that every single American abroad has a higher price tag on their heads, and they are now more likely to be taken than ever before because of the dereliction of duty that we're seeing in broad daylight. President Biden failed us miserably. We all celebrate, Simon, the Americans coming home.
Of course.
The price we pay is now more Americans, thousands of Americans abroad are now in greater jeopardy because this president just doesn't get it.
Really doesn't. It's such a remarkable thing that we're dealing with. It's mind blowing to me because look, this is American foreign policy 101, right? It's very simple. This is the world's number one supporter of terrorism anywhere on the globe. We've got our Secretary of State saying, well, that $6 billion, they can only use it for humanitarians aid, and the Iranians immediately publicly turning around and going, we're going to use it on anything we want. And then at the same time they're doing that, they also, by the way, chose today to deny UN inspectors access to their nuclear facilities. They did that today. And we're supposed to trust these people?
Never, Simon. Here's what we know. Under the JCPOA that you are very familiar with, within just 2 years or less, they were already having ballistic missile tests in violation to the JCPOA. They got rid of the quickie inspection, so to speak, where you just showed up. They wouldn't let that happen. Here's what we see time and time again. It's an old adage. You cannot make a good deal with a bad actor.
There you go. Absolutely right. 2 more things, and I got to let you go, sir, because we don't want to make you late. This missing F-35, this might be the craziest story we've seen for a while. Again, very pleased the pilot successfully ejected. How do we not know where this thing is?
That's a great question. 2 things we know for certain. Number 1, thank God the pilot is safe. Number 2, the Joint Base has confirmed that the debris field has been located in Williamsburg County. That's in South Carolina. So we know that the debris field gives us, this is breaking news, by the way, so you're the first to hear this. Breaking news, they have found the debris field in Williamsburg County. But for hours, as you suggested, because of the stealth nature of the plane and the systems being damaged in the crash, I assume, they could not find the flight. They could not find the F-35. Good news is we now have a debris field that leads us, hopefully, very soon to the plane.
Well, you coming from South Carolina, being United States Senator, we're going to take that as gospel, and thank you very much for that, because missing F-35, not good.
It's a big deal.
at all. So I'm pleased we've got it. I'm pleased the pilot's good. I'm pleased that we found the plane, because that's really, really weird. Finally, we have a text line here, and someone has texted in saying they want to make sure you're not dating Fang Fang.
I'm not sure what a Fang Fang is.
Oh, that was the Chinese spy that one of your colleagues was dating for a while.
Good news is I met my girlfriend at church, and I'm sure she's not.
I'm genuinely not interested, sir. For real, I'm not. I just had to read the text line out. Senator, we'll give every candidate the opportunity to give out their website. You are no different. Off you go.
Thank you. VoteTimScott.com. VoteTimScott.com. You can find out more about my candidacy and or make a contribution.
There you go. We'd love it if you, next time you're back in Des Moines, if you come into the studio, it'd be great to see you again. In the meantime, sir, have a great trip to Iowa. We appreciate you.
Look forward to seeing you.